Fearless Disease.
Let's get another check on Oracle meantime. After Q2 numbers that were out just moments ago, shares are under pressure, down about 4% right now, off the worst levels. Joining us now is Rishi Jaluria. He is RBC's software analyst. He has a sector perform rating, a 310 price target on Oracle. Rishi, your initial takeaway on what we got from this earnings report.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks so much for having me. Always a pleasure to be here. Look, I think it was a pretty inline quarter. They obviously telegraphed a lot at the analyst day, which wasn't that long ago, although it feels in AI lifetime, ages ago. But the RPO was very much in line with what they had kind of pre-announced. Numbers were relatively in line, slightly missed on the top line. But overall, I would say, in line with what people expected, but we don't have answers to the big question, which is how are we going to pay for all of this build out? How are we going to pay to meet those RPO demands? What's the certainty around this? And I think this is going to be a very eventful earnings call in about 40 minutes as we get more color into those questions. What does a timeline look like? Anything like that? I think that's why you have the stock down a few points, but realistically, I mean, the implied volatility heading into the quarter is a lot more than that, and maybe the earnings call will change that.
I mean, that's
expose the truth they hate to hear. Like right now, if you are ready, Oracle shares tank 11% pre-market after Q2 revenue. This is at about 14.2 billion versus expected 14.5 billion, despite AI RPO soaring. Man, big news. I said 11% because that's what's happening at the current moment. You see, it was about 4.69, and that was heading around, I would say yesterday, ending towards the day, but beginning today on Thursday, we're at about 11%. I think that going back to RPO, it's going to be soaring from a 438% to about 523 billion from Meta. I think it's going to do that, especially when it comes closer to NVIDIA deals. Oracle, if you want to watch Oracle, especially for people that are in the trading aspect, Oracle is a big stock, so you want to be able to watch and see how it's doing. Now, don't ignore Dixie, and of course, don't ignore S&P 500 and the NASDAQ. But Oracle is a big power move. So let's take a look. Let's hear what they else have to say about it.
Focus on potential financing alternatives and what paying for all of this looks like. I mean, is that ultimately what's driving the stock, at least here in the near term?
I think that's exactly right. I mean, all the enthusiasm around the large deals, including with OpenAI and everything like that, that's all there, right? And that's all embedded in the stock. Now the question is, okay, well, how do they get this out there? What can they do beyond debt? Are they willing to lose their investment credit grade rating? Are they going to dilute shareholders? Are they going to, look at alternative financing, look at maybe sovereign wealth funds? I think there's a lot of options on the table, and I don't know that they're going to give a very definitive answer, but I think they can do a lot on the earnings call in that hour to really calm fears that there's not going to be a huge delay in the recognition here, that the margins on this deal and on similar AI deals are in fact something that's going to be accretive to profitability over, call it, the next 5 years.
Rishi, I guess we knew that Oracle was offloading Ampere to SoftBank, and the idea behind Ampere was chips sort of designed specifically for AI. This is a departure from what we see the big hyperscalers doing, who I know Oracle would like to be held in the camp of, at a time when there are already questions about what kind of margins Oracle is going to be able to get out of its data center strategy long term. How are you modeling what they're going to be able to do, especially given how successful their hardware strategy was in another era when it raised eyebrows?
Yeah, before he answers that, I mean, the stock's going to be booming, especially when it comes to AI contracts. It's going to be at least about 21 billion next year. I already know. Multiple investors are talking about investing more and more into the AI contracts. So I know he's going to give his prediction, but I 100% think that's going to be happening within the next year around Q1 and Q2. But I would really look for NVIDIA as well next year. I think it's going to get at least about $50. But everything may rebound to at least about 180 if guidance is true and it beats against what the analysts are saying by next year. Again, by Q2. I will wait for right now. Still stack up the money. You got Christmas. You got things going on, especially when it comes to the new year. But look towards Q2 and don't really pay much attention to Q1, in my opinion.
Yeah, look, I think it's a great question and one that we need to ask because, as you correctly pointed out, all the other hyperscalers, Amazon, Microsoft, Google, are all designing their own AI chips and using third-party vendors alongside that. And I think the rationale there is to reduce dependency on NVIDIA over time. And, obviously that can have near-term implications, but over the long term, no one wants to be all in on AI infrastructure and only have one supplier behind that. Oracle, I think they recognize that all the fortunes here are very much dependent on them being a big vendor or middleman of choice around these NVIDIA chips, their close partnership with NVIDIA and with Jensen. And I think that's why, right, is just kind of calming those fears that Oracle would design something competitive with NVIDIA. And I think that's why they're doing that. So not surprised to see that, just given I think Oracle does have a higher degree of dependence on NVIDIA than others.
Very true. Higher exposure.
More on the AI trade, what wishes Dan Ives.
I would stay on it. Pay attention to both from Oracle and NVIDIA coming up to Q1 and Q2. Big moves, but as you said, it makes a lot of sense. Not every company is going to put 100% of their stocks into AI. They're looking at other investments, especially when it comes to Bitcoin. Don't forget about it. Smash like. Tap the next video on the screen. You'll see right here. Subscribe. Hit that bell. CashApp is always in the description. FearlessDisease if you are supporting the movement. See you on the next one. Stay rich and stay fearless.